Okay, so welcome to another video. Today we're going to be making a rum cake. It's getting time for the holidays, so this is kind of a test run before the holidays. So I'll walk you through my process on how I make a rum cake. Okay, so the way I make a rum cake is I actually use just a regular yellow cake mix. I use a store-bought cake mix. I've got everything kind of organized here already, so we'll take our cake mix. And this is a yellow cake mix, by the way. So we'll just dump our cake mix in. Our half a cup of oil. A cup of water. And 3 eggs. And then we're going to mix this up. So just kind of, what you would normally do when you're making a cake, mix it up. If you want to use your hand, you can certainly do it by hand like I like to. I prefer doing it that way. If you've got a mixer, by all means use a mixer. It'd probably be faster, get a little bit smoother than what I can, but this is the way I like to do it. Okay, so the cake batter is mixed. Got a bundt pan. I've got it greased down really well. I just use any kind of cooking spray would work. If you want to use butter to grease it, that would work as well. Make it a little bit more buttery, but it might actually be a little bit overkill in my opinion, because you are going to make a butter rum sauce that's going to top this once the cake is done. You do not, and this is where I've seen some people make mistakes, do not make the rum sauce before the cake is ready to be topped, because you're going to scorch your rum, and then you've got a very nasty tasting rum cake. Okay, so just cook this like you would, following the normal directions. I believe for this cake the directions say 38 minutes to 45 minutes at 350 degrees. So we'll get this going. Once the cake comes out, you're going to let it cool. We'll flip it, and then I'll show you how we make the rum sauce. Okay, so 40 minutes later, here's the cake. It's starting to cool. We're going to start working on the rum sauce, because before this is completely cooled, you're going to want to poke some holes in the bottom with a fork and then pour half of your rum sauce over it. Okay, so on medium heat, we're going to take a stick of butter, so a quarter cup of butter. We're going to let that start melting down. And once that's melted, we'll move on to our next step. Okay, so to our melting butter, we're going to add a quarter cup of water. It's going to help speed up the melting of the butter process. We're actually going to turn the heat up just a bit now, because we're going to bring this to a boil here in a moment. And you want the butter melted before you add in the sugar. You're going to add in a cup of white sugar. You're going to stir it, bring it to a boil, and you'll have to stir it consistently for about 5 minutes or until the sugar dissolves. Once the sugar's dissolved, you turn your heat off, move it to a different burner on your stove, hot plate on your, a hot pad on your counter or something. You want it off the heat, and then you're going to add your quarter cup of rum. You're going to stir that in slowly. It is going to foam when you add that rum in if it's done correctly. So you'll want to be very careful. If you have young ones, make sure they're away from the stove, because they can get burned in this process when you start adding the rum in. You'll definitely want, I've got a medium-sized saucepan here. You don't want anything really any smaller than this, because it is going to foam when you add in your rum. So, a cup of sugar, add this in. Now this is where you need to start stirring. You do not want to scorch your sugar and it can easily scorch here. So you're going to consistently stir for the next 5 minutes. We're going to turn the heat up a little bit more because we want this as hot as possible. And we're just going to be stirring this for the next 5 minutes. Okay, so you're going to continually stir this. One thing about your rum, I prefer dark rum. You could use a spiced rum, you could use a clear rum, but I prefer dark rum. Darker the better in my opinion. The dark rum I usually get, they were out of stock of when I went to the liquor store this time, so I'm using Bacardi Black this time. Usually I use Myers dark rum. It seems to like it's got a little bit better sugar content. So now you can see this bubbling, this starting to froth up and foam. This is where you really want to make sure you stir it really well. You're going to consistently keep stirring this for, we're at about 2 minutes now, so we've got another 3 minutes that we want to keep stirring this at. And this is getting your sugar mixed in with your water and your butter. Okay, so we are going to start adding our rum. You're going to consistently be stirring this while I'm adding it. And see, we're just kind of drizzling it in. The heat from the sugar and the butter and the water is going to cook off a lot of the actual alcohol in the rum, and you're going to have that rum flavor and the sugar from the sugar cane that rum's made out of. Okay, so now you're just going to stir it up really well. Okay, so your rum sauce mix is made. You're going to poke some holes just with a fork or a toothpick, whatever you prefer. Just in the top, no random order. Okay, so after you've poked your holes in the top of your cake, you're going to pour over half of your rum mixture. Just kind of drizzle it over. Just like that. Okay. So now you're going to let this rest for 10 to 15 minutes. After that, we'll invert it, get it out of the pan, then we'll put the rest of the rum sauce on it. So the cake's set for a while. We're going to invert it. I've taken a knife, went around all the edges. Set it on your bladder, your serving dish, whatever. And I don't know if this is true, but I've always heard a little tap on the bottom helps loosen it up. There it is. Look at that. Alright, so now what you're going to do is you're going to finish your glaze. Finish your glaze. You're taking the rest of the rum sauce. You're going to pour the rest of the rum sauce on it. As evenly as you can. Okay. Scrape out the last of the goodies there. There you go. Super simple, easy to make rum cake that anyone can do as long as you can go buy a bottle of rum. Hope you've enjoyed.